Loud.
Happy anniversary!
Hey, so I'm calling your show, 'cause I need to know. Show me which way to go before I throw my man out the door.
Okay, hold on a second, Keisha. Just let me ask Ronald exactly what's going on, because it takes two to tango, and I need to hear his side of the story.
So she's driving me insane, got stress heavy on my brain. She keeps playing silly games, man, I'm about to bring the pain. We seem to fuss and fight every day and every night. Please give some advice so we can see the light, see the light.
Welcome to her cringe clinic. I'm Dr. Ju. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist who cares deeply about the soul, not just the mind. Last week, I talked about integration, spirit versus soul, yin and yang, Shiva and Shakti, and how shiny-souled human beings initially try their best to go up, up, up in their lives, and then hit a point when they want to learn to fall down. This week, I want to talk about why shiny souls must go through a phase or multiple phases where we learn to cut people out of our lives. Because this process of emptying our lives from the noise that used to guide us in life is very necessary for us to reconnect with our inner child and to roll around the ground with our inner child. You're not choosing to be alone when you cut your friends out, but you are creating silence in order to hear from your inner voice, who at first will only speak to you in whispers.
Are those the whispers? Are they
I
birds?
know that
Oh,
being
I'm sorry.
lonely kind of sucks. And I know that cutting people out also really sucks. But in this book called Fighting for Our Friendship, the author of the book, Danielle, she shares a research study that says that on average, we lose half of our friends every 7 years. Half of our friends every 7 years. And that this is a...
That was Dr. Ju, J-O-O. And she's on to something. There's a lot to unpack there. The voice of reason. Welcome back to the scene of the conversation. The VOR is about to take it too far. Let me, okay. Number one, this healing part that she was talking about. Individuation. She was speaking of Carl Jung. Individuation or integration is the act of reclaiming the shadow and merging it with the mask. The mask means the persona, the mask you wear in public, not the real you. The shadow is more of the real you. It is like a psycho-spiritual library of all the hurts and memories and pain and aspects of yourself that you have orphaned or held in contempt. So individuation, i.e. integration, would be to merge those two together to become a whole person. That's Carl Jung. She's saying during this process, you're going to have to do some pruning. Because the person you were no longer needs those folks that were around you or that may still be around you. Tonight's topic: does healing equate to isolation or solitude? Or does healing simply reveal which relationships were built around the person you had to be in order to survive? Oh my gosh, this is a tough one. Do you get rid of your friends? Do they fall off organically? What's going on? Does healing equate to solitude? You hear me talk about it all the time when I say all the real work that needs to be done in a relationship is really self-work. This is why you hear me say things like, imagine if you could give yourself everything you ask your partner to give you. Attention, validation, acknowledgement, approval, acceptance. Imagine if you were able to give yourself all of these things and you came into the relationship full. What would your expectations of them look like? You've heard me say this before. Tonight's topic: does healing equate to solitude? Meaning, do you have to go off on your own and do this work? But if this work is inherently self-work, what can they do for you? Have we been conditioned to want companionship so badly that we need our hands held while we're doing the inner work? And if that's the case, what's wrong with that? 1-800-920-1580. Get to your phone lines right now. I want to hear it. Have you pruned some people up out your life? When you decided to make a change, did you ask them to leave, or did they organically fall off? 1-800-920-1580. Does the individuation journey make you undateable and unrelatable to the unhealed? That's a question for you right there. If they're not on the healing journey, this is not about hierarchy or pathologizing. This is just saying you decided to go inward and do the inner work. You decided to go to work, and they decided to stay the same. Did you guys become unrelatable to each other? Oh, my goodness. 1-800-920-1580. Oh, 1-800-920-1580. Does the individuation journey make you undateable and unrelatable to the unhealed? This is a deeper investigation into the shiny souls, the loneliness tax of authenticity. The realer you get, the smaller your friend circle gets. I'm interested to know. Psychological pruning. Are you pruning folk about your life? If you're recovering yourself, your inner child, do you have to prune the people that serve as distractions, right? As obstacles to that healing? Many people enter the healing journey believing they are attempting to recover from pain. Years later, they discover they were actually attempting to recover from adaptation. that realization changes everything, because the deepest wound many people carry has nothing to do with what happened to them. It has everything to do with who they became in response. So if you can no longer be that person, and the people you have gathered around you, or the people that were magnetized to the level of consciousness you were at, feel the shift in you, you suddenly find yourself with fewer friends. 1-800-920-1580. Get to your phone lines. I want to hear what you have to say about it. Listen to what I'm saying. The deepest wound many people carry has nothing to do with what happened to them. It has everything to do with who they became in response. Somewhere along the way, many people learned how to become acceptable before they learned how to become themselves. They learned how to read the room before reading their own emotions. They learned how to anticipate the needs of others before understanding their own needs. They learned how to secure belonging through performance, achievement, caretaking, sacrifice, emotional labor, usefulness, attractiveness, intelligence, spirituality, or success. The shiny soul often embodies this paradox more intensely than most. These individuals frequently possess a profound desire for authentic connection, a heightened moral sensitivity, and a deep commitment to truth. Yet, that very sensitivity often tempts them into constructing identities designed to earn love rather than receive it. Then life, as it always does, and unexpectedly, intervenes. A relationship collapses. You are unaware of it. You didn't even know that there was an impending collapse for your relationship. It happens. A friendship expires. A marriage enters the divorce phase. Oh, Lord. A career loses meaning. A relationship loses meaning. An identity begins cracking under the weight of its own performance. Suddenly, healing arrives not as comfort, but as interruption. The interruption asks a dangerous question. Who are you beneath the adaptations that earned your belonging? Oh, my goodness. This conversation investigates whether healing truly requires solitude or whether solitude merely becomes the temporary consequence of removing the psychological noise. What friendships in your life represent psychological noise? Does your marriage represent psychological noise? Maybe you went and got married so you could quiet things down. And maybe that marriage has served. Ooh, I don't want to say that. 1-800-920-1580. Oh, my goodness. We examine why certain friendships disappear during periods of growth. Why some relationships resist authenticity. Why the inner child often speaks in whispers. And why the journey towards selfhood frequently feels lonely before it feels like freedom. Perhaps healing does not separate us from others. Perhaps healing separates us from everything that prevented us from hearing ourselves. The voice of reason is in the building tonight. I don't know who I'm talking to. What if becoming fully myself cost me access to the people who only love the version of me that performed for them? Tonight's topic, I'm not going to play with you tonight. I'm not going to play with you tonight. Let me ask the question again. Does healing equate solitude? Can somebody walk with me as I heal? Only if they sit in the corner and be quiet. Can they cheer me on? How many times have you torn down a person that tried to cheer you on when you were in that moment of self-evaluation, right? When you were in that moment of self-confrontation, when you were in a self-war, how many times you pushed away the help, the supportive help? I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying there are moments where I can't hear you right now. Right? Does healing equate to solitude? Or does healing simply reveal which relationships were built around the person you had to be to survive? I know you don't want to. I know. Andy, I know. I know what these topics do, man. They don't feel good at all. I get it. How much of your personality developed as self-expression and how much of your personality developed as social camouflage? I'm calling you out. Take the camouflage off your face. What if your greatest source of emotional exhaustion comes from maintaining identities that no longer belong to you? How many friendships are you in like that? Are you in a marriage like that? Are you in a relationship like that? Are you in too deep? It's going to cost too much to blow it all up. Are you in too deep to do the real work? Who would you become if no one expected anything from you? And you expected nothing from anybody else? Who would you be then? What would the quality of your relationship be? What parts of yourself only appears when nobody needs you? What? Have you mistaken adaptation for maturity? I want to know. Right? Did you seek love? Or did you seek immunity from rejection? Wow. See, healing, I keep trying to tell y'all, boy, healing is not no joke. Is it a solitary path? Do you go heal yourself? You know how you need therapy. You need some healing. The question then becomes, should I heal before I try to get in a relationship? When we come forward, the voice of reason's gonna keep the fire lit. Let's get it.
Relationships. Got you confused? Need some straight talk? This is where you get the unfiltered truth about love, relationships, and everything in between. He breaks down relationship dynamics with no-nonsense wisdom and practical advice that actually works. Tackling the questions you're afraid to ask and giving you the answers you need to hear. You're inside the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. These are hard times for housing in America. Too many in our community face barriers to safe housing, behavioral health care, and affirming spaces for healing, particularly those impacted by poverty and stigma or incarceration. Rooted in South LA, AMAD supports impacted communities through housing, wellness, and leadership development. AMAD provides culturally responsive, peer-led support from transitional housing and mental health services to leadership development and youth empowerment. They offer safe, affirming houses for youth, transgender women, and formerly incarcerated individuals. Therapy and peer support with a focus on healing trauma in Black communities. HIV prevention and care, free testing, education, and wraparound services for whole person wellness. Standing in the gap with health, housing, and hope. Reach out to AMAD Institute Solitude at 323-569-1610. That's 323-569-1610. Or visit amaad.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Y'all did it!
Hey, Los Angeles, KBLA Talk 1580 is turning 5, and we're celebrating in a big way.
Oh my God!
Join us Friday, June 19th, Juneteenth, 4 to 7 p.m. at the Beehive for our 5th anniversary bash and Juneteenth celebration. We're talking surprise celebrity guests, a special presentation, and a major announcement you will not want to miss.
I can't wait to hear it.
Plus, live music, dancing, games, and enough food and drink to keep the party going.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Of course, you're welcome to bring your own picnic basket, blanket, and lawn chair. And the best part, it's completely free. But here's the thing. You've got to sign up in advance. Space is limited, so don't wait. Head to KBLA1580.com right now and lock in your spot. Friday, June 19th, The Beehive, KBLA Talk 1580. 5 years strong, and we're just getting started.
Happy anniversary, KBLA! Yeah, man!
You know you want some more. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah. Check it out.
In Jung's view, individuation is a process by which a person becomes aware of their individuality. This is where you would integrate the conscious with the unconscious parts of the psyche. An example of this most commonly cited is the idea of integrating the shadow, the darker side of the personality that we all have but may or may not acknowledge. But only through acknowledgement and understanding can we achieve true self-awareness and integrate this part of our psyche to achieve wholeness. The Chosen One embodies this journey towards wholeness and self-realization, acting as a symbolic guide for the audience's own path to individuation. Jung would argue that the reason these stories resonate so deeply is not merely because they entertain or inspire, but because they reflect our own inner quests for meaning. The trials and tribulations of the Chosen One mirror our own internal battles. Their revelations echo our moments of insight, and their ultimate transformation signifies our potential for self-actualization.
Listen, who was that, Andy?
Somebody talk about Carl Jung.
He was talking about Carl Jung for sure. Carl Jung's work. Maybe people don't like me because I'm just so direct. Maybe I just rub them the wrong way. Let me keep rubbing then. Let me rub on you then. No, because listen, people want everything to be soft and sweet. And, oh, this is going to hurt. I want you to brace yourself. No. Sometimes you get that motivational coach that says, nah, We not going to tolerate it. You're going to lean in whether you like it or not. I need 10 seconds of you leaning in. Go ahead, Andy. Andy got it. Andy's mind is going. So when we start talking about psychology and Carl Jung and individuation, we also talk about this ego piece. And you know the ego is three-pronged. You have the superego, you have the id. Those two are subconscious. Then you have the ego that's kind of like the mediator in between the two. The superego is more like, we shouldn't do that. The moral side. This is what we should be doing. The high ground. Let's take the high ground. The id is, I want it now, right now. I want it last week. We're going to do it now. We should have did it then. That's the id. And then the ego in the middle is like refereeing between the two. I'm going to get Andy's thought, and then I'm going to come back to the ego. Andy?
I'm just tired of fighting. I'm tired of struggling. That's why I want things to be soft, man. I'm just tired. Like, damn, do I got to fight even for the relationship? I just want to chill.
Ladies and gentlemen, Andy just touched my heart, man. Gosh! Andy, that hurt. Let me just say this.
As soon as I wake up, I got to fight, man.
That's because you haven't prepared. See, let me just say, conflict is useful in relationships. But if you haven't trained for conflict, that's where the fatigue comes from. You haven't put no rounds in. Do you understand? Nobody wants to ask what's the purpose of conflict? The purpose of, you say, oh, conflict ain't good for a relationship. That's how a relationship go bad, too much conflict. John and Julie Gottman, they said for every negative event in a relationship, there should be 5 positive events to counterbalance that. But hold on. Just because they said it doesn't mean that's the gospel truth. Everybody respects the Gottmans, the Love Lab. I get it. But let's go even, what is the spiritual purpose of conflict in relationships? What is it for? See, what we do is we see the conflict, we react to the conflict, and then now there's a rupture, and then we got to go into repair mode if we want to save the relationship, right? When I come forward, I'm going to break that down even further.
He's on fire tonight. It's the voice of reason with Zoe Williams exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Chicago Public Schools CEO Dr. Macklin King, who is black, is defending district policies supporting African American and transgender students.
CPS is in compliance with all local, state, and binding federal law.
While testifying before a Republican-led congressional committee, King said CPS follows local, state, and federal law. She also defended the Black Student Success Program as the Trump administration withholds $8 million in magnet school grants over those policies. Attorneys for Carmelo Anthony, a black Texas high school track star, are appealing his murder conviction. He was sentenced to 35 years for fatally stabbing Austin Metcalf during a fight at a track meet last year in Frisco, Texas. No charges will be filed against Chris Brown's security guard after he fired an air gun outside of the singer's home in California. The May 1st incident happened during an altercation with a woman outside of Brown's home. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Plan your escape to Fantasy Springs Resort Casino, a world-class desert oasis just minutes from Palm Springs. And get your tickets now at FantasySpringsResort.com to see rock legend Gene Simmons of KISS perform live June 13th, Cole Swindell August 25th, and Brantley Gilbert August 15th.
Don't be anxious or confused about AI. Take control of your career when you get the skills to tackle real business problems and design specialized solutions. HR Dive reported that entry-level talent with applied AI credentials can receive up to a 25% salary boost. But where do you find training that you can trust? Future-proof your career and deliver more value with Humans Lead the Way AI. Their hybrid learning courses use practical definitions, real-world examples, and strategic insights to help you and your team understand AI with confidence. No magic, no hacks, no shortcuts. Just practical knowledge that helps you use AI more successfully. Don't wait. AI can never replace people who know how to use it well. Register for courses today at humansleadtheway.com. That's humansleadtheway.com.
Yo, it's Zoe Williams, the VOR, and I know you're tired of pretty gems with pretty lies, where people seem to scroll more than they sweat. Well, it's time to level up. Welcome to Huff and Puff, where excuses die and champions rise. Smack dab at 1221 North La Brea on the corner of Fairview. This ain't a photo shoot, it's a battleground. Certified achievers in the game. Trainers who grind with you, not post pictures beside you. Whether you're chasing your next personal record or just trying to outrun your past, this is your sanctuary of sweat. No mirrors, no filters, no fluff, just pain, passion, and purpose. Stop talking, start training, huff hard, puff loud, be legendary. Where folks go to war with their weaknesses. Huff and Puff.
It's never too early to start talking about money in realistic ways with your kids. JP Morgan Chase navigates how to educate your kids now about creating long-lasting, healthy money habits. Whether your kids are in elementary school, high school, or college, now is a great time to start a conversation about ways to create healthy money habits as they grow, ultimately benefiting their financial future. Talking about money in a realistic way to support your kids' lifestyle and dreams, your first banking account geared towards high school or college. It's never too early. Explaining the basics, what you earn and what you spend, building financial confidence starts with getting organized. Learning and practicing vital money skills now will stay with them for life. Tools they will have to stay on top of their finances and achieve their goals. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase.
All I need is one mic.
With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm James Farr. $2.5 billion. Governor Gavin Newsom said it was there for fire survivors in Altadena and the Palisades. No strings attached. That was the promise. But the burning question is, where's it at? 18 months later, an NBC4 investigation came back with the numbers. The numbers don't answer the question, they deepen it. Where's it at? About $605 million has been spent, roughly 75% still not released. Where's it at? Roughly $14 million went to CHP overtime and ICE immigration protest response for crowd control. Not rebuilding homes, not rebuilding lives, but crowd control. Where's it at? Another $13 million went to the state health department for video campaigns, while fire survivors waited. While families in Altadena are still trying to put their lives back together, still trying to get housed, this is the hope gap and it's real. Where's it at? Southern California Edison is still in court, still fighting liability tied to the Eaton fire, still not accountable. Where's it at? 18 months later, Governor Newsom, where's it at? Because the truth is free, but the lie can be very expensive. And right now, fire survivors want to know what happened to no strings attached. And I've been saying on this mic for the past 18 months, somebody or somebodies didn't do their job. Now it's documented. Governor Newsom, listen closely. You didn't do your job. You didn't keep your promise. You held up the bill, now stop holding up the money. You said no strings attached. Instead, you played on the people's heartstrings. Where's it at? See, Governor Newsom, even at the French Laundry, if it don't come out in the wash, it's sure enough gonna come out in the rinse, and the rinse cycle is here. With the KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm James Farr, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with the Williams. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
My nervous system is red. Every breath I take deposits peace into my spirit. I move different now, slower, softer, wiser. No rush, no chase, just great. Yeah. In my calm, in my breath, in my rest, I'm rich. In my joy, in my flow, in my yes, I'm rich. I don't chase validation, nah, that's so new. I don't invest in chaos, nah, that's broke energy. My mind, a garden guard, my heart a vault, my body a whole bank of blessings. I'm wealthy in patience, abundant in stillness, overflowing in presence. Every pause pays interest. Listen, my peace compounds daily, my clarity multiplies. Luxury ain't in diamonds, it's in the way I breathe and how I protect my energy.
And it's true that a lot of us were conditioned to talk about what happened to us. What was the family dynamic? How did we feel when that happened? And it's real, and it needs to be talked about at some point as part of your healing. But if you're like me, talking about other people and the past only went so far toward making me feel better. It helped me wake up. It helps to know why we struggle. But then what do? So in my own healing, the real progress kicked in when I was able to shift the focus off the past, off of other people, and onto my own symptoms. The thinking, the behaviors, the emotions that were driving me now, because that's where healing is actually possible in me right now.
That was my crappy childhood for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, the VOR, man, we back in the building after coming full circle. You already know what it is. Tonight's topic is deep, man. Does healing equate to solitude? Must you do it on your own? Can your partner help you? We getting deep into it. And Andy was asking something earlier. And he was talking about how he was tired, and I was talking about resilience. You can't build resilience unless you go through conflict. Conflict is necessary. Conflict has a purpose. Conflict actually builds our resilience. But now, let me go back to the ego piece. A lot of people don't know your sense of self was created in that first hurt. Gosh, your sense of self was created in the first hurt, right? Your identity, right? Children model their home environment, where they were raised. They model the beliefs, the concepts, the ideas, the traditions, the values of the people that are raising them. So if you have a work in progress, a whip, right? As a parent, which everybody does, everybody's parent is a whip, a work in progress, then that means whatever deficiencies they have, whatever part of their shadow that they're refusing to acknowledge, that they're abandoning, the child is molding all of it. This is the reason behind my second relationship book, The Holographic Relationship, because I'm saying the whole environment that you're first born into is holographic. So you think because you didn't see the conversation between your mother and your father, You think because you didn't know the details behind the conflict that they were having, that very same conflict was still operating and molding your sense of self. How they showed up, do you see what it's holographic. The whole story comes with you. And guess how it works? I move into adult relationships. I'm carrying all of that with me. The conflict is going to show itself yet again. And every time the conflict shows itself, that's an opportunity for you to rewrite the rules. Now, you can deal with the conflict in the same way they dealt with the conflict, which is going to perpetuate the conflict. Or you can look at it from a different perspective and say, yo, I'm carrying a passenger. Let me unpack this. So I don't even wear these clothes. Do you see what I'm saying? And then you got to, this is about to get crazy. You got to separate your sense of self from what you modeled in that first environment. Go ahead, Andy.
Sounds like you got to have two willing individuals to even go through with
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? And like, it has to be healthy. It's not going to work if we're, calling each other names, low-hanging fruit and stuff like that. Both parties have to be, aware. And everything that you're saying, they got to be willing. If you're not willing, then it's not going to work.
It's not going to work. But guess what you just did? You brought Los Angeles in the building. Hey! But what you're explaining is the real relationship. That's what makes a relationship. I'm willing to struggle through this with you. I'm willing to grow up myself, give you the space to grow up without judgment, without verdict, without condemnation. You're doing the same. That's where mutual respect and mutual understanding go. We're both works in progress. When people fight for the lowest part of you, come on. That's what love is.
Which leads me to believe that we need to remove our expectations. I think a lot of the times those expectations, when they're not fulfilled, we become disappointed. And then that's when like just the negative feelings about that person arises. If we didn't have any expectations and we come in like just wanting to learn every aspect about them, even if it's something that we learn that we don't like,
right?
I think the hurt wouldn't be as hard.
Let me go even further. I believe that human beings can experience love without need. Human beings can experience connection without need. Oops. Need, desire is clinging. See, we're not at that level yet, right? Psychologically, spiritually. Remember, psychology is born out of philosophy. The love of wisdom. That's what philosophy means. And the term psychology from its root actually means the study of the soul. So initially psychology was spirit-based, soul-based. This is why I say relationships are inherently spiritual. That's why they still call trauma a psychic wound. Uh-oh. Zoe going too far? Am I going too far? See, y'all don't want to do the real work. See, needs come from wounds. Expectations. Hey, if you just do this for me. You heard what Dr. Jashana Johnson said. She only had to say it one time on this show, and it stuck in my spirit. See, I don't mess with love languages. What? That sounds like insecure attachment to me. And people running around quoting it. Well, my love language is touch. Then go back to the moment where touch wasn't available. See, in my new book, The Way of the Intercepting A-Hole, I'm talking about the mother wound, right? But I don't call it the mother wound. I call it the mother room. That first environment that let you down. That first environment that introduced the first hurt, the first disconnect, the first incongruence. Oh, you carry that on into adult relationships. But yo, your sense of self is the biggest piece we need to get to. When I come forward, the voice of reason gonna flame it up.
Is it good to you? More Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams when we come forward.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavish Smiley. We continue our look at what is happening and what is not happening along the Destination Crenshaw corridor. Last time we talked about the promises made to this community. Today we talk about the reality on the ground. And it is not pretty. Let's start with something as basic as a visit to the vet. Customers of the local veterinary clinic right next door to this studio are forced to park blocks away and carry their sick and injured animals through conditions that no pet owner or sick animal should have to endure. Why? Because the construction has blocked access to the vet's parking lot for years now. The vet is losing clients, the vet is losing revenue, and frankly, who can blame these customers for not coming back? This is but one example of a small black-owned business being quietly strangled, and nobody at City Hall seems to notice or care. And the conditions along this corridor, they are not just an eyesore, they are a health hazard. Unsanitary conditions and repeated health code violations are doing exactly what you would expect. Inviting vermin into our neighborhood, rodents, pests, the kind of infestation that does not stay in one place. It spreads into homes, into restaurants, into our daily lives for years now. Then there is this. The houseless are finding refuge in the construction cubbyholes and unfinished spaces left wide open along this project. These are precious human beings, to be sure, in desperate situations. But this is also a safety and liability crisis that the city created and has yet to address for years now. In our prior editorial, trying to save some space for grace, we did not call his name. But after a full week of running the editorial hourly, highlighting the myriad delays, business losses, health violations, safety concerns, and more, we have heard absolutely nothing from City Council President Marquise Harris Dawson. Nothing. Not a word. The council member who represents this district has gone silent. You see why we call this project procrastination, Crenshaw? And so I repeat, Crenshaw deserves better. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavish Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
You want some more. It's the Voice of Reason with Zoe Williams on KBLA Talk 1580.
Something to do, baby. I'll be down, 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 down. You know I'll be down, 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 down. I see you arriving in your car, yeah. Jet black Mercedes built in the 70s, classic like you and me. I'll be coming down, 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 down. I'll be coming down, 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 down.
What if I told you that you're not merely a product of your environment, but a unique individual with a distinct purpose? This profound concept lies at the heart of Carl Jung's theory of individuation, a lifelong process of psychological development where one integrates the conscious and unconscious elements of their psyche to achieve wholeness. Jung called this individuation, and it's fundamentally about freeing yourself from the heavy weight of social expectations and collective pressures, moving courageously toward becoming more of your authentic self. It requires letting go of deep-seated cultural conditioning, inherited beliefs, and societal norms that often obscure your true nature. By embarking on this journey,
I just said that. The voice of reason ain't playing tonight. Welcome back to the scene of the conversation. We've come full circle after having come forward. You heard the clip. The clip is talking about something deep, of course. It's talking about that mother room. This isn't to pathologize moms or women. You know, I'm not here to blame. I didn't want to call it the mother wound. I called it the mother room. That first environment that shaped the ego. The clip talked about the ego. The I. The personality. Who I think I am. Let me tell you something. You can always rewrite that. That's a work in progress. You don't have to be a product of your environment. Let me give you a book that I think is very important on this particular subject. It's critical that you read this book, and it's crucial to the topic. The book is called No Self, No Problem. How Neuropsychology is Catching Up to Buddhism by Chris Niebauer, PhD. Right? Groundbreaking material here. Right? Niebauer writes that the latest research in neuropsychology is now confirming a fundamental tenet of Buddhism. What is called anatta, right, or the doctrine of no self. Niebauer writes that our sense of self, or what we commonly refer to as the ego, is an illusion created entirely by the left side of the brain. When I tell you the book is crazy, go get it. But where did Buddha come from originally? Buddha is originally an East Indian. From India, Kush, Indus Valley, right? And what was Buddha's belief system before he went through all his trials to become enlightened, and thus referred to as the Buddha? Well, he was a Hindu, right? I don't like using that word. But Sanskrit has a term called no mind, the advanced meditative state where you transcend the ego and ordinary thoughts. You say, well, wait a minute, what's the topic tonight, Zoe? I asked you if healing can be done with your partner. That's what I asked. Can they walk with you? Can they do it for you? No. This is all inside work, right? The advanced meditative state where you transcend the ego and ordinary thought. It isn't about being unconscious. It is the realization that your true self, Atman, which is just another word for soul, is separate from your thoughts, allowing pure awareness and deep inner peace. I think this is an inside job. This is why I say Western psychology is somewhat in reverse, because they actively teach, humans need each other, and we do. But I would say need is on a spectrum. at the higher level of consciousness, need subsides. I believe at the lower levels of consciousness, need intensifies to the point that Buddha spoke of. Need is clinging. Attachment is the source of suffering. Can I be attached and still heal? I'm pointing something out here. So the concept of no mind, from a Hindu perspective, right? Not from a Buddhist perspective. The witness. You learn to observe your thoughts rather than being controlled by them. This is no mind. Transcending duality. The mind stops judging things as good or bad. Connection. It dissolves the illusion of a separate self, allowing the mind to align with universal consciousness. Brahman. Right? Your biblical your biblical Hebraic term that equates to Brahman would be the Hebrew word Olum, which means the universe. And yes, that's in your Bible, Olum, the universe, right? So Brahman corresponds to Olum in Hebrew, right? So you start to realize the oneness of all things. I think Jesus was on that too. When he says, isn't it written in your law that I have said ye are gods? And if the word came from God, then how can the word be broken? Right before he ran away from being stoned. Do you see? Even modern day psychology is beginning to incorporate these concepts of mindfulness that come from Buddhism, that come from Hinduism. Do you understand? So healing is about wholeness. Wholeness is about reclaiming every aspect of yourself. Can you do it while still attached? I told you before, in many conversations, you call in your relationship love, but it's really a toxic attachment because you haven't turned and faced that mother room. I'm sorry. Am I making it? Is this wrong? So now let's take another Sanskrit term. Siva. We talked about it last week. Siva, Sanskrit term, which means selfless service. Can you give selfless service to you? Wait a minute. How is that even possible? Selfless service to myself? Yes. We're so quick to serve other people selflessly because we still want something back, some kind of payoff. Can you serve when we come forward? Zoe's going to unpack it even further. Let's get it.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Chicago Public School CEO Dr. Macklin King, who is black, is defending district policies supporting African American and transgender students.
CPS is in compliance with all local, state, and binding federal law.
While testifying before a Republican-led congressional committee, King said CPS follows local, state, and federal law. She also defended the Black Student Success Program as the Trump administration withholds $8 million in magnet school grants over those policies. Attorneys for Carmelo Anthony, a black Texas high school track star, are appealing his murder conviction. He was sentenced to 35 years for fatally stabbing Austin Metcalf during a fight at a track meet last year in Frisco, Texas. No charges will be filed against Chris Brown's security guard after he fired an air gun outside of the singer's home in California. The May 1st incident happened during an altercation with a woman outside of Brown's home. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Vegas summers start by the pool. Find poolside luxury at Aria, iconic elegance at Bellagio, and vibrant energy at the